Hi, very welcome to the Filum Show. I'm Mike Sheridan. I'm joined by Brian Lloyd and Dee Malumbi, who have switched it up again this week with the seating arrangements.
Have we?
Have you sitting there before? No, I'm confused.
I thought... Yeah, maybe you're right.
No, you're always in the middle because last week I had to keep pushing your mic into
That's
your
true,
face.
yeah. Yeah, that's true. And maybe that was why we changed, because this feels more natural.
Does it?
It does, actually, weirdly.
Well, we did it on Friday for Hugo Weaving. Name drop.
Oh, look at that, straight in there. Can I just say, Deirdre Malumbi will not get out of bed for any less than a Golden Globe winner. She just spent 2 days in London at movie star junkets. And she's like, me and Hugo. Me and Michael Caine.
On a first name basis, yeah.
Did you call Michael Caine, because we're going to talk about Den of Thieves, did you call Michael
King of Thieves?
King of Thieves. Sorry, did you call Michael Caine? Sir Michael Caine? Mick?
No, I called him Michael because I remember seeing on the Graham Norton show once, Graham called Sir Patrick Stewart Sir Patrick, and he was like, no, it's just Patrick, and he was very insistent on that. So ever since then,
some of them were a bit funny about that, though.
Really?
Ben Kingsley.
I heard that, and he wasn't. He was lovely. But I'd heard that when I interviewed him, and he was really nice. And they were always really funny about the Sir thing, you know.
Okay.
Which
I'd heard it, like, the thing I'd heard about that was that when he was being credited for movies.
Oh, yeah.
He was like, it's Sir Ben.
Yeah, well, you're being credited. That's fair enough, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, you've got a knighthood. Like,
I don't know.
I mean,
knighthoods don't mean... Sorry, but like they don't mean shit. Like
but if you were Sir Brian Lloyd, you would totally go along with it.
No,
you
I
know
wouldn't.
it.
your ancestors might have been all the land you own and the stables and stuff. You know?
High sheriff, actually, if you want to get into that. High sheriff, actually. So yeah.
We've no producer Dave this week. He's off being best man for his brother. But we've got a producer Charlotte who puts the show together, who did not want the microphone. Low key is Charlotte.
I saw that, yeah.
Low key.
No microphone, and her beautiful Yorkshire accent, like no one will get to hear it.
I will say Charlotte never has any idea who any of the celebrities who come in here are, which is marvellous. She just doesn't give a shit.
It's good. I mean, it's good. You don't want, like, it's good in fairness that you don't want somebody that's like gets kind of star-struck or whatever. But I wonder, though, this is genuine. I've always wondered this, Charlotte. I know you can't speak back in this kind of dynamic.
So he's just talking at you, really.
I'm talking at you. What actor or actress would Charlotte get starstruck for?
Oh, I know the one that Charlotte got starstruck for.
I know this as well.
We know this.
Yeah. And she's giving us the whole. Yeah, I do know that.
But she's already met him.
Yeah,
she's
that's
already
right.
met him, yeah, and was very cool. Cool as a cucumber, I have to say. He's a big fan of this show. If he's watching. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to the reviews this week before Charlotte just cuts us off.
Big bright red.
Okay, Dee, so when we were talking about Michael Caine, we're gonna drop in a couple of clips, I think, from the Hugo Weaving interview that you guys did, and that's going out as a bonus episode, which is, I think, is around a 10-12 minute interview. Charlotte cut it together. So Hugo was in my seat, basically.
Pretty much.
Yeah, which isn't sound. I was at a wedding last week and missed it. So
but you weren't here. Like, if you were, you know what I mean? Like, you weren't here. We needed to fill the seat.
Did you let him know you were sitting in my seat?
I didn't. That
That's
didn't
Mike's
come
seat,
up.
Hugo.
You know, that didn't come up, but he was really nice. He was really, really sound. He was very chatty, got photos with everybody. Dan, who works over on the creative side of the house, actually has a Lord of the Rings. I can see your eyes just glazing over now, right? But Dan Kelly Atkinson has a Lord of the Rings themed tattoo, and he showed it to Hugo Weaving, and he was very nice about it. He was very, very nice about it. I thought that was
but
really...
as in, like, you know, the movie... Yeah, but I mean, you know, he's probably like sick to death of people asking about Lord of the Rings and Matrix, and he's still so like kind of cool about it.
Yeah.
Well, there have been, I won't say who, but in the past I have spoken to certain actor about their past work, and they really didn't want to talk about it.
Oh,
so
was that the thing?
We won't talk about it anyway.
Let's really frustrate the listeners.
My point is that some guys are really unsound about it. But Hugo was such a gentleman and let us all fanboy, which was great.
Yeah, that was. Dan got a picture with Jordan Peterson when Jordan Peterson was in, and it was funny. He came back upstairs and he was like, "You misogynist, Dan?" He was like, "What? I don't understand. What's going on? What's going on?" Anyway, Michael Caine, speaking of celebrities,
yes.
James Marsh is a very good director as well, and this was kind of a surprising one for him because is it a heist movie? But it's a heist movie, like kind of filtered through Cocoon. The Return.
Well, it's based on a
old people, Brian. Old people. I don't know.
It's based on a true story, though. It's something
Okay.
that happened in, I think it was 2015. What was the name? There was an
Hatton Garden
actual.
heist.
Yes, thank you. So it is actually based on a
He's
true
he's
story.
had no sleep.
Yeah.
Look at him there.
Telling you.
Yeah. But it's great. It's got a great cast: Michael Caine, Tom Courtney, Charlie Cox, who people will recognise from Stardust. There is
Daredevil.
Ray Winstone, Jim Broadbent's in it, Michael Gambon. So it's a really great cast. Yeah.
Michael Gambon's from Cabra.
El Cabra, what?
Yeah.
I'd love to get Michael Gambon to go, welcome to the layer cake, son.
He was on. He actually, if you ever hear, I think he was on the Late Late Show a couple of years ago, and he was talking about growing up in Cabra, and like it's really weird. He can like put on. He can talk like I was in there. How do you do? And then like literally on the drop of a pin, he can go back to.
I'm a pain in me bollocks.
What are you talking about? What? You wouldn't get a kick in a stampede. What? Sounds like a Dublin taxi driver in literally the drop of a... And like it's seamless.
Yeah.
It's seamless.
Great actor.
He is kind of like, his character in this movie is kind of a bit like rough around the edges and stuff.
Yeah.
And there's one bit where like he kind of acts like half like a homeless guy. At one point in the movie, his character goes up to the bathroom and pisses in the sink because Michael Caine is in the shower and he has his clothes on the toilet. So he just pisses in the sink, and the look of disgust Michael Caine gives him is so funny. So they're
Do you think
they're
he did it
great
for
little
real, I
moments
wonder,
there.
like?
Yeah.
No.
I
Well,
don't know, maybe like
method.
yeah, you wouldn't know.
Have you
Yeah.
ever peed in a sink, Brian?
In a sink,
Yeah,
once,
I
once or
could
twice.
tell. I could tell, I could just tell that you were like, sink pisser type.
I mean,
Ew.
like, listen, okay, I'll pee anywhere, okay? If like what? Like, I mean, that's the
You gotta go.
You gotta go. You gotta go. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like it happens. Like, I don't know,
Guys-
I've done weird stuff in weird places.
Guys are gross.
Listen, if you could, you would. Don't give me that look. Okay, you absolutely. If you could,
No,
if
I
you,
wouldn't.
I've
if
taken.
you
I-
could pee standing up, you'd pee anywhere. You could. You could just do it anywhere. It's great. It's fantastic. Don't give me that look. Anyways, back to the movie.
Is that any good, Deirdre?
It hasn't been getting great reviews. Gav reviewed it on site. Actually, he only gave it 2 stars. I think that it's grand. Like
Yeah.
what is kind of different about it is about halfway it does take a turn and it becomes a bit darker because like these guys who are all kind of messing around with one another and taking on the heist and ripping the piss out of one another. The guys are all friends with one another. They kind of turn on each other in the second half, so it does become more serious and kind of darker in tone. And I think that maybe people didn't really respond to that because they were like, no, we just want it to be good crack because it's a heist movie and that's what you expect from a heist movie. But I kind of appreciated that they did it that bit differently. And
Yeah, I don't think
talking
James
to-
Marsh making a
yeah.
You wouldn't do it
happy-go-lucky
differently,
comedy,
yeah.
broad comedy.
Exactly, yeah. No, he did want to do it a bit differently, and I mean, talking to him and Joe Penhall, who wrote it, and he's actually also behind Mindhunter. I was telling you before we started this. They were talking about that is kind of what did happen,
Yeah.
But I mean, look, at the end of the day, it's these great established actors doing what they do well. So I think it's worth a watch.
Yeah. Okay. It's not one of those that I think is sticking out for me because we're getting to the point in the year where really decent movies are starting to rear their heads. And one, Brian, that we've been looking forward to for a long time was the new Shane Black Predator movie with Fred Decker. I read a review of this yesterday because you viewed a story on site over the weekend saying reviews haven't been great.
Yeah.
Reviews have been very much split down the middle. What I kind of said to you yesterday was, and obviously I want to get your take on it, was that it feels to me from reading the reviews that Shane Black made it and Fred Decker made a choice to make a very certain kind of Predator movie.
Yeah.
They're not trying to copy anything. They're not trying to. Shane Black's making his own Predator movie.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, you can definitely see his kind of handprints all over it, and the same with Fred Decker as well. I mean, there are parts of this that, like, you can definitely tell that they are kind of drawing on Monster Squad almost kind of levels of comedy, that kind of way. As in, like, there's a bunch of misfits, and they're just trying to, get their way out of this crazy situation. As much as when I was watching The Predator, at no point was I bored, and at no point was I not entertained. Like, even when there was, like, really, and I mean some of the worst CGI I have ever seen.
Oh, jeepers.
Yeah, it's really that bad. Like, this is literally some of the worst CGI I've ever seen. Even at that, it was like, yeah, that's terrible, but I'm still loving what they're doing. Like, that kind of, I'm still enjoying what they're doing. And I also got the sense as well that there was, and I heard this from online and stuff like that, that he definitely took a few cuts at it. Like, he definitely made different cuts of the movie and then showed them and then kind of tested to see what worked and what didn't.
Yeah.
And as you're watching it, again, I enjoyed it a lot. Like, I really did. But, like, I could definitely feel that there were a lot of cuts in it. I could definitely feel that, like, he was, like, I'll take one take from this scene and then I'll take a different take from that scene. And it didn't kind of gel together as cohesively as it could have. But... And also as well, I mean, there's other things to go along with it as well. Like, it doesn't have any of the tension that the first one had. You know, that kind of way. Like, you go
He's
back,
making a different movie, though, isn't he?
yeah, but again, as you say, he was making a choice. Whereas the first one was very much horror with action elements. This is more a sci-fi action with comedy elements. You know, that kind of way. Like, as in the way that horror was kind of like, you know, a through line in the first one. Comedy is more the through line in this one, but it still works. Like, it still absolutely works. There's no point in this where you're kind of thinking that's stupid, or even if you are thinking it's stupid, you're thinking, well, actually, I'm enjoying this. This is really entertaining. Like, you know, but I enjoyed it. I mean, it's not without its problems, and I don't mean like in the sense of like, oh, it's problematic. I mean it in the sense of like, you know, some of the action beats don't necessarily work. Some of the plot kind of falls apart when you
that's criticisms I've seen of Shane Black's other big budget movie, which was Iron Man 3, which is, you know, really fun. It has those comedic elements, but it's then that is those slick special effects, those action beats that were hitting the third Iron Man movie. You know, like, what was the issue here? Because he's done it before.
Yeah.
Did he have more of a budget? You had a better second unit. Like, what's the...
No, the issue here is that, like, whoever made the CGI, it was really that bad. Like, and I really can't overstate it. Like, and you'll see it. I mean, I would encourage people to go watch it because it's very entertaining. But just go in with the knowledge that the CGI is really bad. Like, no, I don't think it's like. I mean, with Iron Man 3, I think the issue was that they kind of. I think it kind of lost itself in the third act, like when they brought in the whole twist with Ben Kingsley. That just was very odd, like, you know, that kind of that really kind of went off the deep end. There's no kind of one moment you can point to in the Predator where it's like, oh yeah, that's where it went nuts.
There's just elements of it that don't work.
That just don't work. But again,
you had this on your list as movies you're really looking forward to seeing.
Oh god, yeah. I've been following this since well back, like, you know, that kind of way. Like, I really was looking forward to it. And then when I kind of saw the not bad reviews, but middling reviews over the weekend, I was kind of like, okay, that's kind of tempered my expectations of it. And I did go into it with low expectations. And I came out and was like, I enjoyed that. So my expectations were, if not met, surpassed in some places.
Yeah.
You know, I really did.
Like the final trailer, because me and Dee had kind of said we weren't crazy about the first couple of trailers.
Yeah.
Nor I.
But the final trailer to you, I was like, oh, he's just gone balls to the wall with violence and kind of, I'm like, I'm totally in.
Yeah, I was intrigued, I have to say, only at the point that I saw that final trailer.
Yeah, me
probably.
too. Yeah.
But as soon as I kind of saw those bad reviews coming in, I kind of like, I kind of decided in my head, nah, I've no interest in seeing this. And I mean, even, you know, like, you did only give it 3 stars.
Yeah.
So which for a Shane Black movie.
Yeah. It's his weakest film.
Kind of like
as a director.
Yeah. I wouldn't really be bothered if I'm honest. Sorry.
I know, no, that's fair. Like, because I mean, there is a lot of good movies out this week, like, and still in cinemas anyway. But no, I think, you know,
I'd worry that Shane Black then, because he's had a couple of franchises that he was been linked to, taking over really fun sounding franchises. He had another movie with The Rock that he was working on that sounded super fun. And I would worry then that studios are going to be cautious of giving him these kind of budgets, even though he's proved to Iron Man that he can do it.
Yeah.
But giving him these kind of budgets. And like The Nice Guys is on Netflix, and The Nice Guys is superb.
So
it's superb. It is a brilliant film.
Nice Guys.
Do you not love it?
Sorry, I know you both love it, but I'm not the only one. I have like read other people online who really, really don't like it, and I didn't get it. I didn't think it was funny at all. And then there are loads of people who love it. So it is divisive.
Well, it's very much Shane Black's sense of humour.
Yeah.
And it's one of those as well that it's given actors who would normally get the opportunity to play certain types. And so you get Ryan Gosling kind of been a weedy, very comedic. You know, he's a lot of range in that movie as well. And hopefully we get to see First Man next week or the week after, maybe.
I think it's the 12th of October.
Yeah, it's coming out then, but hopefully we'll get to see it before then. But
preview,
apparently his performance is incredible in that. But anyway, look, I'm still going to go and see The Predator.
Yeah, I would.
Because I think Shane Black is one of the best writers Hollywood has ever produced.
Yeah, and like I will say as well, there are a lot of jokes in it that are like, I was watching, I was like, oh, that's such an offensive joke. I'm gonna totally remember that. That kind of way. There was so many jokes, and it was like, oh, that's terrible.
Did you before we move on? Did you guess the role that Conor McGregor might have been offered?
Oh God, oh no, yeah, it's as clear as day. It's Alfie Allen's character.
Yeah, what's Alfie Allen's character?
He's Irish, isn't it? And his name is Lynch.
Oh God.
Yeah, and like he's got really bad, like Alfie Allen. Like it's weird. His accent is all over the place.
He's a Cockney, isn't he? He's a Cockney man.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, but like then in this, he's trying to put on an Irish accent, and it's just. Yeah, I can see why Conor McGregor probably passed on it.
Yeah.
But then again, at the same time,
Conor McGregor told me he couldn't be arsed going to Toronto for 6 weeks.
I know, to be fair, yeah. And
literally, he was like, I was like, but Shane Black, and he was like,
it means nothing to him, like. And even as well, like, I get why Shane Black cast him in that role, because, like, you go back to the first one, you had, like, Jesse the Body Ventura, that kind of thing. Like, you get, like, one of these really
it's like these alpha masculine.
Exactly. Yeah. These really physically imposing people, like, and, like, throwing Conor McGregor into the middle of it. He would have been deadly. I mean, I would have loved to have seen Conor McGregor in the middle of that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm sort of like, okay, well,
would it have made it a better movie?
Wouldn't have made it, wouldn't have made a better movie.
It would have made a more attractive movie to audiences. Definitely.
Oh, definitely,
That's true, yeah.
God, yeah.
Okay, one of the biggest hits of the summer.
Yes,
it's still raking them in, so it is.
Yeah.
And we've interviews actually with the cast on site. At the moment, the interviews are doing quite well. Actually, Kim went over and interviewed the guys. This is one that kind of not came out of nowhere, but it's a sleeper hit.
Yeah, it definitely was.
It opened well at the box office in the US, and as like the second weekend was very similar to the first weekend, as was the third weekend.
Yeah, which is unheard of.
That's unheard of.
Yeah.
So it's been in the 20 millions for like 3-4 weekends in a row or something like that. It looks really sweet.
Yeah,
but it looks quite broad.
Yes.
So, what's the cracking over here?
I mean, the way I kind of would describe it is this movie is to romantic comedies what Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again has been to musicals this year, in that they're both kind of very, like, generic. Like, Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again is very much everything you'd expect in a musical. Crazy Rich Asians is very much everything you'd expect in a romantic comedy. They're both completely over the top. There's no nuance to them whatsoever, but they're just so feel good and funny and fun, and the characters in it are just really, really kind of immediately engaging and likable. You know what I mean? So it's just a really lovely movie that you end up like leaving really just beaming.
It's one of those films as well that you would probably see on Netflix.
Yeah.
But now that it's open at the
like
box office,
good Netflix movie.
Yeah, no, there are some good ones as well.
Yeah.
Was it the Setup, the one that came out there recently?
Set It
Up. That was really fun.
Yes.
But romantic comedies have been in a really strange place. You know, they weren't really making any money before now. But do you think this is going to reinvigorate?
Yeah.
The genre?
Well, I think that we were talking about it last year. I think The Big Sick has been a big help in that.
That was really fun. I love The Big Sick.
Yeah. So there are kind of these like indie rom-coms coming out now. And another Netflix movie I'd actually add to that, which is another romantic comedy, I would say, is To All the Boys I've Loved Before, which is more of a kind of like young adult teen drama kind of one. But
good.
That's a romantic comedy as well. It's actually very good.
What kind of vibe is it?
It's almost like a kind of John Hughes kind of buzz, I think.
That's
very John Hughes buzz.
Like kind of sweet and funny.
Yeah, sweet and funny and kind of like, oh, kind of thing.
And kind of about all the awkwardness of teenagehood in a kind of likable, relatable way, you know?
When's somebody going to do that about all the awkwardness that's been in your mid-30s? Chance.
That's just sad. This is sad. Like, when you're a teenager, it's like, oh, you've got the whole rest of your life ahead of you. Then you're mid-30s and it's like, oh, God. You're going to die alone.
Yeah.
You get shit together.
You get that movie like, what's that one, Zac Efron, when he's having a midlife crisis and Rachel Bilson's in it, The Last Kiss or something.
With Chandler Bing.
Is he in it?
Yeah.
What was it? It was like the male version of
The Last Kiss or something, and it was just depressing.
Are you thinking of Zach Braff?
No.
Sorry, you're right. Zach Braff, not Zac Efron. Sorry, Zach Braff and Rachel
I really
Bilson.
like that Zach Braff one.
Yeah.
I actually thought that was really fun. Or sweet, at least.
I thought it was kind of depressing.
Yeah, it was a bit depressing because he cheats.
Garden State, was it?
No, we made one after Garden State. The Last Kiss, I think it is.
Yeah,
right.
I
think that's what it was called.
Yeah, Rachel Bilson's in it.
Rachel Bilson is in it, and he's got it. Jacinda Barris, I think, is his wife or his partner in it, and he cheats on it with Rachel Bilson. And yeah, that's what the film's about. And actually, Tom Courtenay is in it as well.
Possibly.
Yeah, I think Tom Courtenay. He's a great actor. He's a really great actor. It's good to see him in something. I actually meant to say that earlier on. He's in Michael Clayton, wasn't he?
No, you're thinking of Tom Wilkinson.
That's it. Don't know who Tom Courtenay is. Let's move on. Okay, so Crazy Rich Asians making a bomb at the box office.
Yeah.
You know, is it worth paying money to see in the cinema though?
I think so. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Like your ma
It
will go and
is.
see it.
Yeah, bring your ma to it for sure, and go with your. I mean, it is. Look, romantic comedies, I think by their nature are probably maybe for more of a female audience, so definitely it's one to kind of go with your girlfriends too. Maybe go to brunch with bottomless prosecco afterwards or before.
That's so sexist. This is so sexist.
That's so sexist.
So
No,
offended.
I don't mean it
I'm
like
so
that.
offended.
You can
Are
come.
you saying men? You saying men?
What if-
can't
what-
go?
what if-
What if
come
I wanted
with
to go
us?
see Crazy Rich Asians?
With all
huh?
his
I
mates.
think that'd be great.
With all
You
your mates,
should.
Brian.
Yeah. Actually, there is
What are you lying for? I don't have any mates. What are you talking about?
He's a lone wolf.
there is a whole like bachelor party sequence in it. Actually, that's so like everything about their lives is like crazy and rich. Like it's so extravagant, and there's
And
no
they're Asian. They are now.
there is no point in going into this movie like, you know, not knowing that you will never have this life. It will never be this glamorous or colourful or just, you know, the whole world is at your fingertips.
But is
like
that not kind of like? I mean, okay, right. I'm gonna pause for a second here. Let's have our socialist moment here, okay?
Oh, God.
Is it not kind of like really just sort of like, praising fabulous wealth, that kind of thing? Like, there's no such thing as like, ethical wealth to that extent. Like, and again, I don't think that's a little bit sort
That
of.
question
I
makes
think
no
that
sense.
there are plenty of movies that talk about ethical wealth, you know.
it's
and
just- I
not
think- I
one
think
that-
Ken Loach directed Crazy Rich Asians. Like,
I'd watch that. Like,
Do you know what I mean?
I'd watch that.
Jesus, Brian.
Just saying. Like.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Have some
Come on,
joy
we-
in your life,
yeah.
Brian. Have some joy in your life. That isn't Star Wars or some other nerdy shit you like.
Yeah.
Or Trek, whatever.
Listen, just go do some push-ups, all right? Just go do some push-ups. Go do some lifting or whatever it is. Drink your Coke Zero, all right?
Back to your point, there are plenty of movies that like talk about, you know, what's the point of being rich if you have a shitty personality? This
Yeah.
movie isn't interested in all.
Oh, no, of course. Yeah,
He's like, yeah, it's class.
Yeah.
Isn't it great?
It's great crack.
I've got 10
I looked a little bit Coming to America in the vibe, because like in the trailer I've seen, because she's like, oh my God, you're rich. Then I thought, maybe it's like Coming to America, the end of
Yeah.
Coming to America.
I don't know, because Coming to America is more him like trying to kind of fit
Yeah.
into
Yeah,
a normal
but you
life.
don't
It's
remember
kind of a
I
reverse
just remember
Coming to America.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
the end of Coming to America, where he's like, we can give all this up if you want, and she was like, nah.
There's a
Just
bit
good.
that, yeah.
there's a bit
So
of that.
maybe that part extended.
Okay, I want to hear about this Hugo Weaving chat. Sitting in my seat, so he was. What was he? What was he talking about, Brian? What was
Well,
the
he was
story?
over obviously promoting Black 47, which is done really, really well at the box office.
I want to talk about this briefly,
Oh, yeah.
because Brian liked Black 47 a lot.
I did.
Yep.
Yeah, and he was kind of ripping the piss last week.
I wasn't.
You were like, ooh, I can't wait to hear what you think, because he knows I didn't like this, and we actually talked about this immediately before going on Matt Cooper last week, because he had just seen it. And he
Clang.
was like,
Sorry.
he was like, I actually really liked it, and I was like, well, I still.
Yeah,
Didn't
no, it was
particularly like
it
it,
was a
but-
2-on-1 thing, because
Yeah.
Matt Cooper didn't like it. No, I really enjoyed Black 47. I really kind of viewed it for what it was, which was a revenge western. I understand why people didn't like it, though. I get why Dee didn't like it. I get why Matt Cooper. Like, a lot of people, as many people liked it, I would say as many people didn't like it. You know, that kind of way.
I think we kind of conceded on the fact that it was probably the same aspects of
Yeah.
the movie that either put people off or
No.
got people really
Into it,
into
like-
it. Exactly.
Yeah, but so yeah, when we're talking to Hugo Weaving, like one of the things I asked him about was the fact that in this movie he doesn't have a huge amount of dialogue, and of course the roles that Hugo Weaving is known for, like Agent Smith in The Matrix or Elrond in Lord of the Rings,
V for Vendetta. As
or
well.
V for Vendetta, yeah,
It's a
exactly.
mask. It's literally his.
It's masked, but like in the sense of like there's huge amounts of dialogue, that kind of, and he's got that really booming authorial voice, like that kind of.
Yeah,
and
he
this-
kind of grinned when Brian was talking about his authorial voice.
But what I mean is that like in this he doesn't speak at all, like, so like is that kind of a help or hindrance? Like,
Let's take a quick look.
Even roles that people would know you from, like say Elrond in Lord of the Rings or Agent Smith, I mean, it's all about the monologue and it's all about your deep authorial voice. Do you find though that when there's such a lack of dialogue, like in this, is that a help or a hindrance?
Well, there was more dialogue originally, and
really?
it was pared back, and I think that was actually it was a great thing. There were times, so a lot of that initial stuff in the script, and a lot of the backstory, a lot of the work you do. If you then take that out, the work is still there, the character's still there, but he's a man of few words, and he's very little to say about anything. So I think it's a great help. But knowing that all of that was there. But he just doesn't need to say it anymore. It's actually exactly right for Hannah.
I'm going to geek out a bit for this question, if that's okay.
That's all right.
Because obviously, you probably get asked about Lord of the Rings and the Matrix all the time, but a movie of yours I absolutely adore is Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. That is a movie that is just so full of colour and joy and just feel-good factor and music. It turns 24 years old this year. Do you have any fond memories when you think back to the shoot?
Yeah.
Give us one.
It was the film that everyone involved on that. It was like the time of our lives we had making that. Really, it was such an extraordinary idea. You get 3 drag queens on a bus going out into the red centre of Australia. You go, okay, I'm in. Don't tell me anymore. I'm in.
Yeah.
And we shot the beginning and the end of the film in Sydney. So we had the end and the beginning, but then we went on the journey and we kind of shot pretty chronologically as we travelled and had travel days. So the whole experience of making that film was an absolute, it was an insane delight. It really was. It was a very special time. And so I think that joy that we experienced and the madness we experienced is kind of on the screen. Yeah.
You look so uninterested.
Well, I wasn't here for it, Brian, so... Do you know
he
what I
has
mean?
to pretend to not care, but he
this was
really
a last
does.
minute thing.
It was,
and I'm at that Caroline Foran, who the cheek decided to get married on
that weekend.
On that weekend in Dingle. So I missed Hugo coming in.
You did,
and sitting in my seat.
Is it still warm? Is there still warm?
Did you get to the Mr. Anderson thing?
No, I didn't. But like,
another publication did got him to do it. They are now.
They did.
They did. Yeah, they did. And asked about John Wick. Did you ask about John Wick?
No. Well, I mean, we talked about stunt action. Remember you were...
Yeah, we were kind of talking about, exactly, the fact that, he's associated with kind of, doing, action sequences and the likes of The Matrix. And he was kind of talking about how he'll do action if it's incorporated into the roles that he chooses, but that he doesn't kind of seek out action or sci-fi or genre kind of movies anymore, because he says he can't really do them anymore, which is kind of a downer.
He's like mid-50s.
Yeah.
He's mid-50s. Like he was saying, it was great when I was in my 30s. Like I was fittest I've ever been. Like learning how to do kung fu and all that. But he was saying and this was interesting. He said that all the Hong Kong action dudes who were on the set for The Matrix, which we'll be talking about in the revisit. He was saying all those dudes were literally war wounded, they could barely walk and stuff like that, and that really just was no thanks, which is understandable, because he broke his hip, and Keanu Reeves apparently had neck surgery after doing The Matrix, so that'll just tell you how intense it was.
Yeah. Those Wachowskis making them knock the shite out of each other.
Yeah. And go back and watch that movie, and just the impact that they have in it, that kind of, you can really see them, they're not pulling punches, and this is, we'll talk about this next week when we're talking about Mile 22, but it's just the gap, the gap in quality and how an action is paced.
I know, well, you know what as well, because these got a bit in movie news, I think that can kind of lead into the action stuff as well, and that's the link to The Matrix there too, I think. Okay, so that chat's there as well.
Yes.
I think Charlotte, this is going to go out, the interview's going to go out, it's going to be live by the time the movie show is live, right? They are now. So just have a scroll there on YouTube, or have a listen there on your iTunes or on your Spotify. Have a listen. All right, the movie news it up.
So,
it's the most half-assed. These so brothers. Duh. What was that?
Also, you were definitely late.
I know, I totally. Yeah, I know.
Are you okay, Brian?
I'm very tired.
I know, I'm very worried about you.
I'm very tired.
You weren't responding to any of my slagging earlier on.
I know, yeah, this was it. It was all just kind of
yeah,
I know. I'm very tired.
Anyway, let's fly through these, because I know we still have the revisit to do. On the subject of Black 47, it is the #1 Irish movie of the year in the box office. So it made an impressive 444k across Ireland, picking up an average of 5,000 per cinema, shown with 392k pulled from cinemas in the Republic of Ireland alone. So it's great to do it. Great to see it doing so well. Sorry, I'm fumbling on my words, but I'm really having tired.
He's not been earnest about this at all. It's great to see it doing so well.
No, genuinely it is, because like I was saying last week. I personally didn't like it, but I still think everyone should see it and make up their own minds. And like I said, it's an important movie for Irish culture and society and all that. And I do mean that sincerely.
Yeah. Didn't sound like you did, though.
You didn't sell it well. You didn't sell it well.
You liked it, though, Brian. So
I really liked it, yeah. I really
and
liked
it led to Hugo Weaving coming here. So
that's true, yeah. That's it. Did you tell Hugo what you thought of the film?
No.
Yeah, actually, somebody actually pointed that out as well, actually, on Twitter. It was like, oh, did you tell him you didn't like it, did you?
I missed that, really?
Yeah. Somebody tweeted, yeah.
And then also we've got Stephen Ray and Lance Daly talking to each other as well, who came into studio and interviewed each other. They are now. Okay, Dee, what else you got?
Jordan Peele is bringing back Candyman, which I never even heard of until this year when I was doing up my article on Vote for the Scariest Horror Movie of All Time, because it kept, when I was researching it, it kept coming up as this movie that people are saying is like genuinely really, really scary. But yeah, horror site Bloody Disgusting reports that Peele, who's of course renowned for directing Get Out, and then he recently produced Black Klansman, so he is kind of into the producing role now, more so. He's looking to do a remake of Candyman through his Monkey Paw production banner. So there have been 3 Candyman movies so far. I don't think the second 2 were particularly critically acclaimed. But the original came out in 1992 and is something of a cult classic.
Yeah, Tony Todd.
Tony Todd. Yeah, it's a really freaky film. Like, it's really like Clive Barker, for those that don't know, he was the guy who did Hellraiser. And like a lot of his stuff is just very, very heavy on special effects, and like Stan Winston kind of did a lot of work with Clive Barker and Hellraiser.
Gothic and horror.
Yeah. And it's
more of those kind of practical effects that we've
Exactly.
been talking about before, about how they really like prevent a movie from aging too quickly.
Yeah.
you know?
Exactly, yeah. And that's it. Like, you go back and watch like the 1992 Candyman, and it still holds up. Like, it still really does have a lot of impact. And like the thing when he opens up the chest and he's, I'd be really interested to see what Jordan Peele does with it. But I think Jordan Peele, to be honest, I think he's taking on so much on his plate right now.
Producing.
Well, that's the whole thing. He is producing.
He is
producing. It sounds like he's shepherding projects and making projects,
exactly.
using the name that he has now and the reputation he has now and the Oscar win. To maybe get younger filmmakers or give them a chance
which
to
is
make
great.
these interesting projects.
Yeah.
And like studios will make them if it's a recognisable title. So that I'd say that's exactly what's happening there.
Yeah.
So Candyman was an interesting film as well, and it was also I suppose it was an African American villain as well.
Yeah,
which is unusual. So he's probably thinking he can do something different with it, or found a filmmaker who can do something different with it. But that's interesting.
Oh no, it's definitely within his wheelhouse. Like, especially especially like the whole kind of backstory behind it, like the fact that this villain or the person, the Candyman, was like a slave who fell in love with a white woman kind of thing, like, and then was murdered by the father kind of thing. So it's an act.
There's a lot there.
There's a lot that he can
delve
dig into.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Speaking of Delph, like and subscribe.
I knew it. I knew it when I said it.
It's a good show.
It
It's
is
a good show. Do you listen
show.
to my show and watches my show?
I do
Brian?
actually.
Yeah, I'm not. I've never. It's a good show. You had Phil Jupitus.
I have to listen to your shit because it's part of my job now. I'm like, yeah, Brian, I have to do it now. Whatever.
All right.
Thanks, boy. Appreciate the subscription. Appreciate it. Okay, what else you have?
Okay, last but not least, we have the first set photos from the Fast and Furious. I'm sorry.
Oh my god.
Oh god.
Take a breath.
Those movie stars took a lot out of you, didn't they? This 2 days running around London,
Just to
talking to the Oscar
contextualise,
winners.
I had 2 days of junkets in a row, and I have to do more
And you met
interviews
Mr. Bean.
today. I did meet Mr. Bean.
Yeah.
And he did not disappoint, because he's like a childhood hero for me. You know, I love Mr. Bean.
Really?
Yeah.
Mr. Bean? A Blackadder, no? I love Blackadder.
no. I
What are
didn't
you,
see
2070?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I think I would have been a
she's
bit
way
young.
too young. And these the oldest sibling as well.
Oh, true enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I'll do it. Yeah.
But yeah, we have our first set photos from Hobbs and Shaw, which is of course the Fast and Furious spin-off, which stars Jason Statham and Dwayne Johnson. I almost said Vin Diesel there. Directed by David Leitch. I know. Ooh. Of John Wick and Atomic Blonde.
Deadpool 2.
Deadpool 2.
Here's all your movie news.
Just
What else have we got? What have we got?
Read that paragraph and then we're grand.
The set photos are taken from Dwayne Johnson and David Leitch's Instagram and show Statham decked out in a tuxedo, get ready to drive what appears to be a McLaren P1.
I wrote that. I actually wrote that.
I should have gone
yeah.
Brian.
I was doing
McLaren
it kind of
P1.
in these
Oh yeah,
essence,
very good.
in
Yeah.
These essence, you know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I love that shot. It's a cool shot. I saw The Rock
Isn't it?
posting it. Yeah, and because The Rock he's just finished one movie, so he's 2 weeks out from being on set. So it just looks deadly. It's like Jason Statham and David Leitch laughing.
Yeah.
You know, and Jason Statham's having a bit of a run at the moment as well, because Meg's done really well,
Yeah,
and nobody was expecting it to. So I think leading into this, I think this is Jason Statham has gone, right, this is time, because that, like, Hobbs and Shaw is going to do, and not Hoobs and Shaw as you had as your headline, despite giving out about the a couple of weeks ago.
did see
And by
that.
the way,
yeah.
I fixed it from London.
Well, like, yeah, and I fixed like Oliver Isaac from Portugal.
Yeah, all I'm
so
saying
what do
is
want?
you can never give me shit
No,
again.
I can't. I would never. I would never. I would
Anyway.
never.
You would never give me.
Anyway,
Never again. I meant.
we were talking about action movies earlier on and action
Yeah.
directors earlier on, and David Leitch is, David Leitch and I think Chad Tedeschi are the two best in the business, and we're both stuntmen. On the Matrix, and we're stunt coordinators on I think some of the Marvel movies, right? The Captain America: Civil War, and not Civil War. What was the one before that?
Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier, the good one. The last really good one. I think that really for me that had a vibe to it, and then it just became the CGI.
All right.
I got it on DVD recently.
Did you?
Yeah, Winter Soldier. They were having a 2-for-1 Marvel deal, and I got that with Thor Ragnarok.
Do you think they get a notification every time somebody buys a DVD and they're like, really? Still?
Mr. Vice President, somebody bought your book. Well, this calls for a celebration.
In fairness, whenever I tweet about buying DVDs, I'll usually like tag the store and stuff, and they are really excited and they'll like retweet it and stuff. So just saying.
Do you wonder why? Like, I mean, you're probably the only I commend you for doing it, but like, God, I don't know. Anyway, I haven't bought a DVD in years.
Support the industry, guys.
Yeah, well, I mean,
that's what we're doing here.
Do you remember the times I've gone looking for ways to legally watch movies I love, like old school and stuff, and you can't find them anywhere. Because I had that on DVD like 3 times.
Of course, yeah.
And if it's not on Netflix or it's not, you can buy it on YouTube. I don't have Apple TV, then it's difficult to. It is difficult to get them. And saying that DVDs take up an awful lot of space, who has the space?
This is my problem.
No,
This is
they're
my
not.
problem.
Not like
If you have a lot of them,
not like videos back in the day.
No,
they were like
I had a lot of
chunky
DVDs,
oaks.
and I like literally had like 3 massive cases from IKEA, and I had nowhere to put them.
But aren't they kind of nice? Because like they add to the aesthetics of a house.
Yeah, but
and
like-
they kind of
it says, "Hi, I'm Deirdre, and I'm a nerd."
and it presents. Yeah.
Oh, no, but
your
the problem, the
nerdiness to
argument,
the
argument that I had was that it's like I'm living in an Extravision. Get rid of them. So
No, if
Can
if
I
it
just
was
say I would
Extravision,
not
they
mess
would
with
just
your
have-
missus at all. Like, I've only met Kate once, I think, and she seems so lovely. But like, I'm kind of scared of her.
I'm scared of her too. I'm scared of her too. No shit. But yeah, that was the argument that I got. She was like, "It's like I'm living in an Extravision. I don't like it." And I was like, "Okay, grand."
I would love to live in an Extravision.
I would too. I said that sounds great.
I was in Mallow on Saturday after the wedding in Dingle. We drove through Mallow's where Joe's from, and the Extravision, like, it's not open, but the Extravision is kind of still there intact.
Right?
And Mallow,
Locked away.
like, this perfect, this perfect shrine to yesteryear.
Aw.
And I used to love going into Extravision.
I loved
and-
Extravision.
I think they still have those boxes in certain news agents and stuff. No, it's not the
used to
same.
go in and they'd have the chocolate and stuff like that. I worked on a Chartbusters for summer. When I came back, I was away for the summer. No, sorry, I was away and I came back for the summer, and worked on it. It was like minimum wage,
course,
and it was one on Talbot Street in Dublin, and they had this, and they had sunbeds. They were like,
that's right.
help me make money, and it was lovely because, and I say that ironically because it really wasn't lovely, because some of the some of the undesirables who would like use the sunbeds wouldn't bother getting up to go to the toilet. Yeah, and you used to have to clean it up. So my enjoyment of working.
Probably feckin' Brian
Yeah,
with his
but-
pissing in the sink.
Okay, first
Yeah,
of all,
you can't give out. You
Okay.
can't give out.
Hang on.
Anyway, let me clarify. It was a great job. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was really low paid, so you didn't have to do much.
No.
But that was one of the like.
And you robbed a
Yeah,
blind. Probably was.
No, I didn't. How dare you, Brian?
Just saying, that
How
was the
dare
thing
you?
did. Like, it was like,
I rented a Rob the Blind. I'm like, I'm taking this home because nobody's, and then I brought it back the next day.
Sure,
So
yeah.
somebody else could rent it. Although I do recall, before we quickly move on to the revisit, on my last night, some customers are just dickheads. Of
course,
And
yeah.
some guy got really rude with me on my last night. I was like, this guy has got no idea. Because he was looking for, it was one of the Shrek movies he was looking for or something. And we didn't have it. And he was like, got really pissed off at me and like threw all out of change on the counter. And I was like, basically told him to get lost.
In so many words.
In so many words. And he's like, I'm going to tell your boss. And I was like, go ahead,
Do it.
buddy. Anyway, that was it. That was the highlight of my youth. Okay, let's move on to the revisit. The Matrix. It's a classic. How well is it aged, though?
Very well.
Because you were talking about special effects earlier on,
Yeah.
and
And
the
I
sequels are dog shit.
They are.
The Reloaded has its moments.
I think Reloaded has its moments. People give Reloaded a lot of crap, and I actually think that it has some really decent action set pieces. Yeah.
That's it though.
That's really it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's literally where it ends. Like, I mean, we Reloaded, like, you had that great sequence in the the park with the whole thing where he's fighting the multiple Smiths.
Yeah.
That was very well done.
Car chase was great.
Car chase was brilliant as well. The bit in the
racing,
chateau was fantastic as well. Like, it had its moments, but look, the moments stringing it together were just
Orgy raves and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Christ, yeah, remember? You peeked up there, didn't you? But no, yeah, with the first Matrix though, it felt like a much kind of tighter, leaner film. You know, that kind of way. You could really see that, you know, the strands were there for it to kind of go crazy, but they weren't kind of acted upon. You know, that kind of way. I felt like it was much more subtle in its approach than anything else. And like,
most importantly, was it of its time?
well, funny you should say that.
That's what you should call your revisit show of its time.
Yeah,
That would
funny
actually
you should
be
say
really
that.
good. Yeah.
Funny you should say that. I do actually think it was of its time because it was coming out in 1999, 2000. There was that whole thing about, if you recall, you know, Y2K and oh my God, what's the new millennium going to be like? And this was kind of like tapping into that dystopian fear, like the fear of the unknown. But, you know, looking back on it now, yeah, there are some parts of it that are very, very quaint. You know, like the bit where, you know, he sees the agents with the lines running down the thing. And like, that's just because The Matrix was such a hit and has become such a kind of, you know, part of popular culture that it's almost become a parody of itself. You know, like when you see it now, you can't see it without kind of taking the mick out of it. Or the bit when
Because of everything that's followed. That's
exactly, yeah. Like even the bit when like Carrie-Anne Moss like leaps up and kicks the guy.
Shout out to Carrie-Anne Moss, by the way.
She's
Yeah.
so cool.
So good.
Speaking of formative years,
Yeah.
that was one for me.
Oh, yeah?
Carrie-Anne Moss, and she's a great actor. She's been in
Brilliant
a bunch of
actor.
stuff since she's
Yeah,
dead.
in Memento.
Memento,
Brilliant in
yeah.
Memento. But yeah,
Guy
like that
Pearce,
bit, with Guy Pearce. But that bit when she flies up and kicks the guy, like every time I watch that scene, I think a Scary Movie. I think it's the bit in Scary Movie when Anna Faris like does the Lord of the Rings dance from midair. Like, do you know what I'm saying? And that's just because it's become so ubiquitous.
In Shrek as well, Princess Fiona when
in
she's
Shrek
fighting
as well.
Robin Hood
There
and
you
stuff.
go. Like,
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like, just there were so many things that kind of took the mick out of that. When you watch it back now, you can it's kind of hard to separate the two. But there is a lot to love about The Matrix. Like, I think Hugo Weaving's performance in it is brilliant. Like, it's so well done.
Oh,
Like,
it's
so
perfect.
malevolent.
It really is iconic. That's
It really is. Like, it's one of his top 3 roles. Like, and
Yeah.
one of the top villain roles as well. Like,
Yep.
the fact that he's all like, you know,
Yep.
all that kind of stuff. It's brilliant. And like the commitment as well to him and Keanu. And like, look, we have spoken so much love about Keanu Reeves in this podcast, but the commitment that the two of them
How can we
had-
get him to call us?
We need to work on that.
That's next. That's next.
Next, we got Patrick Wilson.
Yeah.
Love you, buddy. Now we need to get
That
Patrick
was a
Wilson.
really good Patrick Wilson impression. That's what that was. Yeah.
But yeah, no. The commitment that the two of them had to doing the work in camera and getting it all in one scene in one take, and there's no cuts because you were asking me off air, oh, is Mile 22 really that bad? Yeah, it is.
we'll talk about it more next week though. Because
Talk
if
about it
we
more next
start,
week.
we'll keep going
Yeah,
on
we'll
about
keep
how
on it.
bad
You
it
didn't
is.
you seen it as well, did you?
Oh yeah.
Oh God,
She hated it as well.
I know we're going to talk about it next
Right,
week. But
yeah.
Peter Berg's a really good actor. He's a really good director.
He is when he's not having a seizure.
Okay.
Which is what it was like watching Mile 22.
And you were saying comparative to something like The Matrix, even though it's 18 years old.
Oh, of course, yeah. Because in The Matrix...
Like The Matrix would be old enough to drink now.
Oh, yeah, I know, yeah, it's horrible. I remember seeing that on video.
Yeah.
Remember the Animatrix? That was another one. That was great. But
see that now.
there was... Yeah, what
I
they
think
do...
that as well. Just to add, just to put in my 2 cents.
Please.
I love as well that I think Keanu Reeves, he gets a lot of credit for, how great he is in like the action capacity of that role. But as well, he's really good at being like the really uncool, awkward guy
Yeah.
at the start of the movie. And then
bit
he
with the
transforms into this total action hero.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of actors can kind of, access both of
Yeah,
those
yeah.
sides so
Will
readily.
Smith turned it down.
I mean, I tell you what,
Been-
I honestly wonder. I've said this before. I genuinely think if Will Smith had starred in that, it would not be the success it was. I think he would have just.
I don't know about that.
I know.
It's always kind of hard to know looking back, but I do feel like if he had kind of gone Men in Black with it, you know, like it worked the whole comical aspect for Men in Black.
But I don't think he would, because he did Enemy of the State, and he was really around then, and he was really good in Enemy of the State, which is a Tony Scott movie, underrated Tony Scott movie.
Yeah.
Speaking of kind of paranoia and Y2K and government surveillance and all that. Enemy of the State's one we should definitely look at again. Gene Hackman's brilliant in that, yeah. It's got a lot of younger, like James, I think, what's his name, from Scream, Jamie Kennedy. Like a lot of those guys who were popping up in Kevin Smith movies and stuff around it too. Anyway, not to digress too much, but Will Smith had done serious stuff around then too.
Yeah,
he had, but I mean, I just think that like
the movie's so perfect the way it is.
It
I
is.
don't like.
Yeah,
I
agree 100%.
Yeah.
I agree 100%. I still think like Will Smith have been, he was a superstar at the time as well.
Could have been interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose.
Do you see another? Like, because at the time, The Matrix was groundbreaking.
Oh yeah,
it was like, do you see another action movie doing that? It just doesn't. I mean, obviously, John Wick is the best action franchise ever made. But you know, it does familiar things we've seen just better. Yeah. You know, do you see like the bullet time and all that? Do you see any other action movie ever doing anything like that again, blowing us away?
I don't know. It's hard because it's kind of, The Matrix is such a good mix of the whole sci-fi and the action thing. I think probably the movie that's come the closest to imitating it in recent years that I can think of is probably the Ghost in the Shell remake, but that's also because the original anime Ghost in the Shell, of course, was one of the inspirations for the Matrix. Course, and then like thinking of even what they did with, say, Blade Runner 2049, which is again a sci-fi movie that kind of incorporates action into it, but it's more about
very sparingly.
It's very sparingly, and it's more about kind of, it's leaning in more for the sci-fi aspect and just making it about kind of, you know, the psychology of, you know, these replicants and you know, the kind of deep meaning behind this and how it relates to kind of our modern world. So I think that movies tend to veer on kind of the whole like psychology behind it. That's what sci-fi is kind of doing at the moment, or else you get pure action like the likes of Mile 22 doing it wrong and John Wick doing it right. So it's hard to imagine a movie at this time that'll get that balance as perfectly, but we have yet to see what's to come.
I can't remember the name of it now, but Gareth Evans, who directed the Raid movies, has an English language movie coming out with Dan Stevens, Disciple, and that's going to be on Netflix next month.
So looking forward to that.
Gareth Evans is, if anybody, we've talked about David Leitch and Chad Sadesky being just the best of the best. If Gareth Evans is I think one of those guys, and I mean, maybe not now, but you know, we've spoken before, and I know Dee specifically said this. She's like, I'm not doing any more Bond news. I'm sick of it, right? Which is fair enough. Totally get it.
Well, because he would have been a deadly.
Yeah, but he would be a phenomenal Bond director. Get a younger Bond, reboot Bond, and have Gareth Evans direct it, and just let him go balls out in the action. I think.
But they kind of did that already. I mean, Casino Royale was fairly balls out with the action.
It was, and elements of it were, but it was also. I love Casino Royale. I think it's an excellent Bond movie, and I love Craig in it. But I think it was a reaction to the Bourne.
Oh
movies,
yeah, completely.
You know, absolutely. Like, so I think do something different. But yeah, I think that The Disciple, and it's like set in the 1900s as well.
Yeah, it's very cool. It looks kind of like The Wicker Man meets something like The Witch.
There's got to be action in it though. Is that the?
Apparently, I don't know. Just like, I mean, the fact that it's been kept so under wraps is really
just drop it on Netflix.
Yeah, and I'm just like, oh. By the way, I saw the Jeremy Saulnier thing, Hold the Dark, that Netflix one with you know, the guy who did Green Room and did Blue Room. Yeah. I have the review for that coming up pretty soon.
Okay, good. Good. Is it good?
It's very good.
Look! Oh, you were real there.
So, I've never seen it. So good.
You were like, it's very good.
That's very good. Very good.
Right.
I liked it a lot.
We'll leave it there as Brian makes love to the microphone.
Previously to the camera and now to the microphone.
Took her for dinner.
Oh,
Met its family.
Met its family and everything.
They made love to that microphone. Okay, that is it for this week. Next week is Mile 22. So next week isn't going to be it's not going to be a positive happy-go-lucky.
No.
You're going to have to kind of go back to the pain of watching Mark Wahlberg's latest, his fourth movie with Peter Berg as well. Boo earns. Okay, thanks to Charlotte for production this week, doubling up on production this week. We'll be back next Thursday. Generally, we're out on a Thursday. Yeah, okay. Sometimes we're out earlier.
I won't be here next week, by the way.
Oh, dude.
Sorry,
where are you going to be next week?
Cannes.
Cannes.
Oh.
Are you going to Cannes? The film festival was ages ago.
I'm not going to it for the film festival.
you
I'm
going
going to it for a holiday.
You're always on holiday.
She's going off with her sitcom
not.
family. She's going off with her sitcom family.
family again.
No,
No.
Oh, yeah.
no,
I thought you were.
no.
You're very
With
mysterious.
my boyfriend.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I think she'll come back with a ring.
Shut up, Brian. So let's rip the piss out of your partner again.
Oh, God.
I'm going to leave it there, folks.